Hello, Park Church. This is Pastor Charlie coming to you with a midweek word from the Lord this week, and that word is freedom. This Saturday, of course, is July the 4th, and that's the day we celebrate the freedom here in the United States when the Declaration of Independence was signed, declaring our independence from British rule and the oppressive nature of what England was forcing on the colonists. Now, that freedom came with a price. 25,000 men lost their lives in the Revolutionary War, and since that time, about 1.3 million lives have been lost in all the wars that we have fought. So freedom is not cheap. There's another kind of freedom, though, I want to talk about today. And that comes from Luke chapter 4, where Jesus, speaking to his hometown people, said the following: "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." I could paraphrase that just a little bit. I think what he was saying is, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he's anointed me to preach good news to the poor. That is, proclaim freedom for the prisoners, recovery of sight to the blind, release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. The good news that Jesus came to bring to the earth, and that the news he brings to us today, is freedom from blindness, oppression, and that we have the Lord's favor. He also said in John 8:36, "If the Son sets you free, you are free indeed." Now, there's a lot of aspects about freedom. Obviously, we understand freedom here in our nation. We understand freedom from those who have been in prison. But the Bible talks a lot about freedom in different ways, and I'd just like to highlight a few of those for us here today. The first one is we are free from the law. Galatians 5:1 says it's for freedom that you have been set free. We've been free from the old Mosaic law of Moses. In essence, what that was trying to do in order to be. To do enough good things to be a good person. And we know how that worked. And we know how it still works. It doesn't work. We cannot work enough to please God, because we would have to be perfect. And because of our human nature, none of us are perfect. And so the good news is that Jesus came to fulfill the law. So it's now through Jesus that we obtain righteousness, and not through our own efforts. Another way that Jesus brings us freedom is to free us from worry. And boy, we sure need that today. Worry clouds our thinking, it blocks our faith, and it just is a disruptor of our life. University of Wisconsin did a study, and they found that the average person's worries can be categorized with four headings. One is 40% of things never happen. 30% things happen, but they cannot be changed. 22% are petty worries, and only 8% are legitimate worries. Meaning that 92% of the things we worry about are not legitimate. Now, I guess that's a matter of opinion, because what you may consider legitimate, I may not consider legitimate, and vice versa. But Philippians 4 says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about what? Everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all that he has done. God cares for us. Jesus mentioned that in the Sermon on the Mount when he said, look at the lilies of the field and look at the birds of the air. I take care of them. So why are you so worried? The other is freedom from fear. Boy, and today we fear the coronavirus. We fear the rioting in our streets. We fear racial divisions. We fear political infighting and backbiting. And what Jesus said, Don't be afraid of those that can kill a body. Uh, but fear God. Um, See, what's the worst thing that can happen to us? See, when we fear God, we have nothing else to fear because we know that God will take care of us. And to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And so when we fear God and we love Him, 1 John 1, 1 John 4:17 says, perfect love casts out fear. And so I want to encourage us today to live in freedom from fear. We need not fear what's going on around us, but need to fear only God and know that Jesus has come to fulfill our lives with good things and hope, so that we are not fearful. We also have hope. Peter says we have a living hope through the resurrection. And so things around us may look very, very dark and very dim and be very pessimistic about what's happening in our nation, but we have hope. We have hope not only in this life, but we have hope for eternity. And we also have then freedom from condemnation. If Romans 8:1, that famous verse, no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus. Christ sets us free from that condemnation because He paid that awesome debt of sin that we could not pay. So the word this week is freedom. Freedom. Freedom from legalism, freedom from worry, freedom from fear, freedom from hopelessness, freedom from condemnation. And Jesus offers Himself as that freedom. And I said earlier that the freedom of the United States cost many lives. It was very costly, and it was and still is. But the freedom that we have in Christ was also very costly, but only cost one man his life. But that was Jesus Christ. God become man, died on that cross, that we could be free from sin and free in all these other areas that we talked about today. So this week and on July 4th, celebrate your freedom and live into your freedom. Embrace your freedom and focus on Jesus and His freedom and not on all the problems that are around us. And we will experience and enjoy freedom. God bless you. Have a great week and a great holiday.